Now I've just had a poke round and cut here, and there's a strip of fabric here, and the same here. If I strip this away like that, they've made pockets for these to go in. You're going to have to do it the same way. Take measurements and do it precisely. It should give me a specific size to do. Wow, that is something else. I've not seen this in an old piece before, but that's why I do this job, so I can find out new things. I'm going to set up my sewing machine on here for now. So I'm going to measure from the sew line to the top, which is 6 inches, and from the side, which is about 3 inches. So I've got 4 in a row, and I've got 5 rows, so that's 30. So I need 30 of these. I won't show you how to cut them because I show you how to cut everything. The piece that goes across the top has to be 4 inches. Now to cut a strip of fabric is actually quite easy. I'm going to cut one of the ones that are 4 inches wide. I measure up from the bottom to the 4 inches, cut across to the top of my measuring tape like that. And in this case it's quite easy because I can actually see all the lines from the weaving. But if you can't see that, all you need to do is put your measuring tape out again and measure up to it all the way along. And then I'm done for the interior. And I have to think about the exterior. Because there's only 4 rings in the top, I'm actually going to cut that length in half like that. Now what you need to do, and this sounds obvious, but lots of people don't think about it, and this is how you miss things. So I got 1, and then I'm going to put a stack of 5 on there, roll it up. There's my second one, and do the same. Just check you've got everything you need per stack. As long as it's all folded together. I'm going to give it a 1/2 inch seam allowance there. I'm going to move it along, and I'm going to put a line here for the 4 inches. It's got to be 4 inches all the way along, so you can do it separately, it doesn't really matter. To the end there, give it another 1/2 inch at the other end, and the same on this side. So here's our 1/2 inch, 4, 8, 12, 16, and the 1/2 inch. Both sides need to be marked and equally, and then on each one you need to draw your line through those marks. This is time consuming. At least you can mark everything. Now that allows for the 4 springs, and then I'll do the same on all of these long strips. I'm going to unravel each set. I'm actually having to do this in my kitchen today because I don't have anywhere else to do it. Here's my first one. I'm going to start at this end. So I've actually drawn the first 1/2 inch line in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to lay that on there like that and straighten it up to here because that's the outside and that's the inside. So lay that on top like that. Pop that down, and I have a little mark here. Lengthen the stitch to 3.5 should do. So I've gone forward, reverse, and then I'm going to sew along that line all the way across, and the same on the other side, forward and reverse. Then I'm going to go to my second line, lay my next one on top like that, the foot down on the line, forward and reverse, and all the way across, forward and reverse, and then go on to the next one. So all of this will have all of these on here facing one way. The last one is obviously very easy because it's already got the halfway mark marked, and this is why you always take your line right to the edge so you can actually see where you're sewing from to. On the first one I've got all of my things sewn on, so I've just sewn this one in. I'm going to raise it up, pop it over, and put the next one in, and you just repeat that all the way along. It's as clear as mud, I know. So that's the second one in. Here's my third line, pull that one over, and that's my third strip to put in. Line it up and sew that one in too. Now the last one here is the easy one again, because I'm just going to pull that over. Here's the top, here's the bottom, and in it goes. Now if I hold this up like that, that is what it looks like. All those pockets for the springs to go in. And then I've got the long piece on the end here. Now I'm going to repeat this 4 more times, so I've got 5 strips. Now these are the long channels that are going to go on the outside cushion, and because they are longer, I am actually going to give myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance so that I can follow it down easier. The principle is still the same. Might vary a bit along because this isn't very straight, but at least it'll give me a ballpark of where to sew. And I'll do that on all of these. This is the outside bag, and it's obviously got to be oversized. I'm just going to measure the halfway mark there and at the top, and the same on the sides. This is the center mark on the longest length, and I have 5 rows of pockets to put in. So what I've done is I've measured just halfway along. The reason is that is not my sew line. So I've just put 4 inches on that side, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this side and draw my first line across on there. And I'm going to do it all the way along because this is actually my sew line. Line it up on the other side and draw that one in too. So that's my center row. And now I'm going to measure out from that line and put 2 more rows in here like this. 1, 2, both at the 4-inch mark. And I'm popping those in as well. And do this on both pieces of fabric. So I've drawn everything up on the inside where I'm going to be channeling everything. This line here is so I stop sewing. And what I'm going to do is mark on the back side. So I'm going to push my pen through on that corner, and the same on that corner, this corner, and that corner. Turn it over, and I am now going to line up that mark here where it came through to this mark down here, and I'm going to just draw a line all the way across. Put it over, line those 2 marks up again, there and there, and draw. This is actually quite important, but not until you've done other things. I'm going to repeat on this one. This is the outside length, so I'm just going to fold that up like that so that it fits nicely under my foot. And this is the outside line. So with my piece for the channeling, I'm going to make it level with the top here. This is the outside edge. I'm going to put that there, level with that, forward and reverse, just to hold it. And then I'm going to lay this line on top of the next line. Don't pull this. This has just got to be sewn into place. It's not pulled into place. And then you can see your line there to sew on. Straighten your fabric out again, lay everything out, put that line on top of your sew line here, pinch it together or hold it, and sew on. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. And here's the end line here, so I'm just going to sew right to that corner. There's the corner, reverse and back. Pull that out to the side, unravel your fabric. This one, place your next one on top. Started in exactly the same position on that drawn edge. Now if you were to do channeling for soft filler and that was your end sew line, you'd bring it in maybe about 2 or 3 inches from the end. But I need it all the way to the end because it's for springs. Now the last one goes in exactly the same way. I should probably have found a better surface, but I am so used to sewing on top of my ironing board, I forget. Again, just double check where the end line is, which is here, and stitch to it and finish off. Before I start the second side, what I'm going to do is fold over the channeled part, let the raw edges match, then I'm just going to cut on that fold that out and the next one up, because you want all the channels to be the same length. It just makes it easier if you start off with the right length. Now I'm going to remove this because it's actually the top piece now. Pop this underneath like this, roll it up like I did before so it's nice and smooth there, and then shake all of these down and start at the bottom. So this one is going to be lined up with the top here like it was on the other side. Do forward and back just to start it off. Straighten everything out as best you can because now you've got quite a bit of weight on that side. Drawn line on drawn line like that, and sew. Just like you did on the first side. Line that one up again, and that should, with a bit of luck, finish on that line. Move everything so it's flat, move this in here and carry on sewing. When you get to the other end, forward and reverse. Move to your next line here, find the next part of your channeling and roll that into place. Set it up like that, and again forward and reverse and start sewing across. Okay, so I'm going to mark which is top like that. I know it's upside down to you, but it's okay for me. And here is my first set. I'm going to take each spring out and put it in its own little section before I can pull it through. So this was the second one that came out. This one goes at this angle. They used to be straight, but they've been in this unit for so long. So I'm going to pop that one in there. Grab those two long ends, this end, and slowly pull that into place like that. I'm going to get to the third one here. Pop the next one in like that, and then carefully pull that into place as well. And now for the last one. Now the last one kind of goes this way, and I am going to pop that one in facing the same way. So hopefully my two outside ones are going to follow suit. There we go. Pop that in there. And they're really tight in there, and that's what should be. The top of the springs is just over 4 inches, so that's why it's really tight, and they need to be. Pull this one into place, top and bottom. The reason why I've got that there and here is I'm going to line up that with that on both sides. That's my first row. Now this one goes this angle, so I'm going to pop it in the first slot there, like that. These long tags here, I'm going to pop into here, pull it from the other end, so that slots in too. This is really quite easy, actually. I think I've pulled them all into position. I'm going to flip that down like that. Here's the springs to go back in. Pretty neat, actually. I'm going to sew all of these in place. I'm going to go around here. So I'm going to line up this line with this one, push the spring into the corner, pull that down, and with my circular needle I'm just going to go in, up and around. So the spring is behind here. I'm actually going to start here, so I'm going to go in twice. And then I'm going to go to this corner. Now here's the edge here of that spring, which I'm going to push into place like that. And I'm going to bring the needle back round and up. And I'm going to hook that round into there to lock it into place. I'm going to move on to the next one. Push everything into place like that. It's like a big blanket stitch, and I'll lock everyone top and bottom. As I go round, I'll lock the next one into place. This is just literally to hold these where they need to be so they don't walk. I'm using upholstery thread. There's not much pressure. Once these are pulled into place, they're not going anywhere anyway. And again here, this last one, pop that into place there so it's locked in, up and round. This one's now locked into place. Twist it. And again, there's my line here for this one, and pop everything into line so that's in line, and then push the side of the spring into place as well. And I'm going to just do the same here and all the way around. It's time consuming, but it's better you do that, otherwise they might twist inside over time and you don't want that happening. When you come to the center ones, you sometimes have to be a little bit cautious. I've got hold of this one here and I can feel that one. So I'm going to hold this one up, drop down behind it, and then up on the other side. Should have that. Drop well down and then up. These needles, they just do their own thing. Now this is a big stitch. Hook this one behind this stitch like that. So interlock, and I'm going to go for this one. See if I can grab hold of it. Now here's the side on this one. Grab and then push up, and that should have that one locked in. I'll lock that like that, and I'm going to finish it here and then start again. Now that I've done one side, just got everything in there, I'm going to flip it over and do the other side exactly the same way. Now all that's left to do is to cut these back, because they don't have to be this long. It doesn't have to be exactly ½ inch, just back, and that is your box springs done. Nice and simple actually. Just cut that back as well along there, and it's done. Ready to be put into the back. This is how it looks now that it's all put together. You can see where all of the circles are from the top of the springs. I've pulled it in as evenly as possible all the way around, so it gives it a nice arch this way and a nice arch that way. And I'm just gonna clip that. You can see my cat is not happy here. I'll take this one through and then come back so I can't get them mixed up. He really doesn't want me to have any of these. Every time I move him off, he gets back on. But I think after this one, he might decide that it's not worth the effort. So used to me working, now so he's gonna find somewhere else to sit. What a pain. Which has actually been sewn in. Some of them are. So I'm going to take this one out now.